students, I hope all of you are fit and fine. Today we will be discussing a new chapter, as you can see, the tense. Okay, this video I guess is going to be a little bit long, so if you can't complete watching the video before the live class, take your time and watch it after the live class. And don't worry, as we are going to discuss about tense, the classifications of tense. So there, if you face any doubt after watching the video, even after today's live class, those doubts will be clarified in next one or two classes, okay, live classes. There are some very important things that you need to know, and I want to tell you before going to the discussion. Okay, I hope you remember that in your half yearly examination, the chapter is there, nouns, gender. This chapter is included in your half yearly examination portion. But we had discussed this chapter even before pre-half yearly unit test. So the date on which I uploaded the video on YouTube is 11th May, I guess. Yes, 11th May 2021, almost 2 months ago. 11th May 2021, almost 2 months ago, I uploaded the video on YouTube regarding the chapter. The video was on the chapter nouns, gender, and it was not discussed briefly. We just completely discussed the chapter in a detailed manner. So you need to go and watch the video, search that video and watch the video again, so that you can remember things. Then before half yearly examination, of course we will revise the chapter. I am not asking you to watch both the videos before the live class, the video on tense, the video on gender. No, I am just informing you about the date on which the video was uploaded. You need to watch the video again. Okay, you will understand things of that chapter if you watch the video again. Obviously, if you face any doubt, we will discuss about them in the revision class of nouns, gender. But before that, go through the video, watch the video minutely. Another thing, before 2 weeks, I guess, 2 weeks ago in the video class, I told you to go through the chapter, to start to go through the chapter synonyms and antonyms. That is in page number 149. From 149 to 152, the chapter synonyms and antonyms, there is nothing that I can explain. You must use a dictionary to get to know the meanings of new words. The usage of dictionary is, it will enrich your vocabulary enormously. You must use a dictionary, you must learn how to use a dictionary while going through that chapter. Okay, I will start providing questions from that chapter in class worksheet from next week. So start going through that chapter. I hope you have already started, because I have told this before also. And in today's study material, you will find that I have provided I have attached the format of friendly letter writing. Before also, when we read that for the first time, we discussed the format for the first time, I attached that thing. And I remember that before pre-half yearly examination, it was there was a second time also when I attached the format, and today also I have attached it. And I will discuss it again. The revision will be there, and I have provided a sample also and some questions on letter writing and some questions on unseen passages, comprehension, unseen comprehension. The page number and the number of question will be mentioned, have been mentioned in the study material. You need to solve the questions on those unseen passages and letter writing. You need to frame your own answers, okay, gradually. You don't need to do it today within 24 hours, but you need to do that. That portion in homework has been provided for your practice purpose, so that you can do better in those portions. Okay, so let's begin today's discussion. The tense. Now, what is tense? Tense is actually the time of action. Not always action, I mean the time of verb. The time of verb is known the sentence is. Because tense is nothing but the time of the verb. It is a verb form. So you need to observe the verb, the action word of the sentence in order to understand in which tense the sentence is. Okay, that's the basic idea. Tense and verb, they are totally connected. I hope you have already gone through the chapter verb very well. Otherwise, it will be really difficult for you to understand this chapter. Wait a second. Okay. As you can see, I have already written on my board. There are 3 types of tense: present tense, past tense and future tense. I am very sure that you already know about these names and the basic idea. Present tense, it obviously indicates the present time. Past tense, it obviously indicates the actions of past time or happenings or possession of past time, and future tense talks about future time. This is the basic idea. Now you can see, if we say in your chapter there are some examples also. If I say I am Madhuparna, which one is the verb here? Obviously the word am is the verb, so you need to observe the verb in order to find out in which tense the whole sentence is. Am is the present form of the verb, so the sentence is in present tense. If I say I was ill, I was ill, here the verb is was, and was is the past form of verb. The past form of the verb am, that is was. Okay, so this sentence obviously is in past tense. I shall be present. Shall be, it is the future form of the verb am. Shall be present, it is the future form of the verb, so it is obviously in future tense. So what I am trying to say again and again, you need to observe the action word of the sentence in order to find out the tense. Okay, you need to recognize the form of the verb, which tense it is in. Okay, next, time and tense, but it is not always this much easy. Okay, see, there is an example. I wish I knew her. Sometimes you say I wish I knew her. It means actually I do not know her. I wish I knew her, it means I do not know her. So you can see in the first sentence, I wish I knew her, there are 2 verbs, wish and knew. The verb knew, though wish is in present form, the verb knew, it is actually the past form of the verb know. So we have used the past form of a verb, but the meaning of the sentence, it indicates present tense. So sometimes the equation is a little bit confusing also. You will gradually know about these things. Don't make yourself concerned right now about these things. At first we need to have a basic idea, then we will learn the exceptional things also. Okay. At first we will learn be. The sentences in which we get be verbs, we will learn about the tense of those sentences. Okay, be verb, I hope you remember from the verb chapter. Be verb means am, is, are, was, were, shall be, will be, these things. And these are primary auxiliary verbs, so they can be used both as main verbs and helping verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs can be used both as main verbs and helping verbs. Be is one of them. Be is a very special verb. Is, are, am, was, were, will be, shall be are the various forms of be. Okay. As we have already discussed, it can be used as main verb and also can be used to make other verb forms, means it can be used as helping verb also. Suppose she is eating. In this sentence, eating, eat from eat, E-A-T, we have made it eating. But which one is helping the eat to be eating? The word is helping. So here is is means quote unquote is, it is a helping verb here. But she is there. If I say she is there, in this particular sentence she is there, here is only a single verb, is, and that is the main verb. That's what I am trying to say. We have already discussed it in the previous chapter. I am just reminding. Okay. When we make these sentences negative, suppose a sentence in which I need to write down like this, otherwise things will be complex. The sentences in which a be verb is used as the main verb only, like I am ill. This one is the be verb and this is the main verb in this particular sentence. It is not helping any other verb to create any tense or anything else. This is the main verb here, and in sentences like this where be verb is used as a main verb, if we want to make these sentences, transform these sentences into negative sentence, then we need to put a not here. Here, I am not ill, after the be verb. After the be verb which has been used as the main verb. Here it is main verb. So, in sentences where the be verbs are used as the main verb, we put not after that verb in order to make the sentence negative. See, we are late, from we are late, it will be we are not late. But when we will talk about future tense, suppose I shall be present. Okay, suppose I shall be present. This portion is important because it is a little bit, I will not say this is exceptional. This is a little, the format is a little different. The format is a little different. See, I shall be present there. I am not writing down the word there. I shall be present. When I will try to make it negative, transform it into a negative sentence, the not will be placed here. I shall not be present. Here in between shall and be, the not will be placed. Okay, in between shall and be. In case of will be, it will be he will not be present. Between will and be, in case of shall and be, in between shall and be, and in case of will, it will be will. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so here we put not between will and be or shall and be. When we try to make interrogative sentences out of these sentences, if a negative interrogative sentence, only this verb will go in front of the sentence, in the beginning of the sentence. Shall I not be present? Not shall be not I present. No, that's not the format. Remember, this particular format is a little bit different. Only shall will go in the beginning. Shall I not be present? Or if if a positive sentence is transformed into an interrogative positive sentence, it will be shall I be present? That is okay. Only the be verb that will go in front of the sentence. Okay, in the beginning of the sentence. You just remember when there is a not where we need to put that word. Okay. Okay. Next. Okay. There is a table for you. This is the plus point of your book. Everything has been mentioned in a chart. See, am, is, are, was, where, shall be, will be, the past tense, present tense, future tense, and which person, which verb is used. Everything has been mentioned. Suppose am. Am is used in the present tense only after first person singular number I. And the past tense of am is, as you can see, was. And future tense is will be or shall be. Nowadays we always use will. Shall before, when we were in our childhood, we used to use shall after first person singular and plural number, like I and we. These two pronouns, they used to take shall, but nowadays we can use will everywhere. Okay. And again, after these words we can use are. So just go through The chart cannot be explained. It will take a lot of time. Go through the chart. If you face any confusion, then ask me. No problem. And obviously do the exercise at first, then go through the study material and check my answers whether you have done the exercise correctly or not. Sometimes I also make mistakes by chance. So if you find anything is anything needs rectification or something, you feel like why has miswritten this particular thing, it should not be like this, then do inform me. I am telling this again and again. We all are human beings. Sometimes we make mistakes, but if you go through the study material properly and find anything wrong or anything confusing, then do let me know. Alright? Next, have verb, another primary auxiliary. So it can also be used both as helping verb and main verb. And when it is used as main verb, it can convey two meanings. One, when have verb is used as main verb, it can convey two meanings, two types of meaning. One is possession. Suppose I have a cycle. Here the verb have, it has been used as the main verb. I have a cycle, and it is indicating possession. And I am having fun. Okay, I am having fun. Here we are talking about an experience. An experience with I am having fun means I am spending the time in a funny way or with laughter and fun. So experience. Or sometimes I am having my dinner. Having my dinner means I am eating my dinner. So experience is also indicated with the use of the word have. But we will talk about the first one. In your syllabus we will talk about, according to the syllabus we will talk about the first one, means where the have verb is used to indicate possession. Have verb means have, has and had, have been, had been, etc. Has, where do we use has, has? After third person singular number only. And both the word have and has, they have the past tense had. Had is the past tense of both have and has. Okay, and has is used, has is used only after third person singular number. Let's see what has been provided in your book. Okay, in simple present tense, when have is used to show possession, we can use either. Okay, there are two forms. In simple present tense, we can use the verb have to indicate possession. We are talking about that part only. We are going to use have only to indicate possession. The next point, the second point, leave that. Forget that for now. So when we indicate any possession with the use of the word have in present tense, the sentences can be formed in two ways. Both forms, the two forms, they indicate same meaning, they convey same meaning, but there are two options of forms of making the sentence. I am writing down, you will be able to understand easily. Many books. Okay, it indicates the possession and it is the main verb obviously. We can say the sentence in this way, or we can say I have got many books. I have got, okay, I have get, no, I have got. Because after have and has we use the past participle, and here the structure is like this. I have got many books. Both the sentences, they convey the same meaning. There is no difference of meaning. The structure is different just. But this one is more appropriate. It sounds better. This format, this structure, it sounds better. So we use this one. Okay, but we will talk about both the forms because it has been mentioned in your book. I have many books, the first one. If we want to make it negative, what will I do? have not many books. Actually this sounds strange, but it will be like this. Here we will use not if we want to make it negative. If we want to make it negative, we will say I have not many books. Okay. Oh sorry, I have not got many books. I was going to talk about the second sentence. I'm really sorry. Okay. I have this one. This one is the structure which is better to talk or better to say or better to hear. So I have not got many books. Can you see the board? Actually between have and got we need to use the word not. Now we will talk about the first sentence. I have many books. When we will try to make it negative, it will be I do. We are going to use a helping verb. We are going to need a helping verb in order to make this particular sentence negative. And what are the helping verbs? Maybe do, maybe does. So do or does. Where do we use does? In case of third person singular number, if I say he, it will be he has got many books. It will be he has got many books, and at that time we can't use the helping verb do. We will need does. Okay, this portion it became a little bit confusing, and in between I became also confused. Okay, so I am explaining it again. When we use have verb as possession to indicate possession, these are the two structures that we can use to write a sentence. I have many books or I have got many books. This one, I have got many books, this one sounds better. That is why we use this structure more and more. Okay, and when this more perfect structure is made negative, we need to put the word negative word not in between have and got. If there is has, like he has got many books, not will be placed between has and got. Okay, but in the first structure means I have many books. When this structure is made negative, we are going to need a helping verb, and that helping verb is either do or does. In case of third person singular number, obviously does, and in other cases do. I have many books. I do not have many books, or I don't have many books. This is the structure of negative portion. Okay. Now interrogative sentence. Have you got a new car? This sentence, when we will make it interrogative, this format, it will be have will go in the beginning of sentence. Have I got many books? So this have verb only, it will go here in the beginning. Have I got many books? Okay. Or in case of third person singular number, it will be has Onu got many story books. And when we will make this structure interrogative, again we are going to need a helping verb. Do I have many books? The have will remain in the same place in case of first structure, and the helping verb that we are going to use, whether do or does in case of third person singular number, that will be used in front of the sentence. And obviously if the sentence is made interrogative, you need to put an interrogative mark in place of full stop. So do I have many books? This will be the structure. Okay, I hope the confusion is clear now. I also contributed a little bit in that confusion. Okay, in simple past tense, it will be had, obviously. Other things are same, have or has, it will be had. See, Amit had time to visit the Taj. Amit did not have time to visit the Taj. Obviously in past tense, we will not use helping verbs like do or does. It will be the past form, that is did, and when did will come to help, it will suck the past tense from whatever the verb is. Here it is had. So the did verb will suck the past tense from had and make it free. It will be have again. Okay. And negative and interrogative sentences are formed by using did. With did, the root form of the verb is used. Exactly, the root form, the main form of the verb will be used when the helping verb will come to help you. Otherwise, what is the use of its help, right? And in simple future tense, the structure will be shall have or will have. Everything is same, only the portion of the verb will be changed. It will be shall have or will have. I shall have many books. And shall verb will go in the beginning in case of making it interrogative. See, shall I have many books? Here shall, if we use shall here, it will go in the beginning. Shall I have many books? This will be the structure. Okay. Now you need to do the exercise, and if you face any confusion, obviously you can ask me. Here it shall and will. In future tense, it was common to use shall with first person pronouns. Exactly what I was trying in between, in the middle of the video. We used to use shall after the first person pronouns like I, we. But nowadays everywhere we use will. That's not a problem. Okay. There is nothing in this chapter, nothing else in this chapter. So go through the chapter, watch the video, and now we are going to discuss the format of friendly letter writing once again. I am just discussing the format and the important things, and then you will be able to understand whatever there is in the study material. Okay. So as we learned in a friendly letter writing, we need to mention the sender's address, the address of the person who is sending the letter. His or her address will be mentioned in the left top corner, in the left side top corner, and you should mention the address within 3 lines. Within 3 lines you should mention the address, and after you can open the study material and watch the video. See, house number A123 Rangamati, comma. I live in Sharatpalli, so Sharatpalli, comma. You need to put a comma, then Paschim Medinipur dash and the pin code 721101. My pin code is, and after that you need to put a full stop. Okay, so the first 2 lines they will take comma, and at the last line where you are completing your address, in the 3rd line you need to put a full stop. These things are very important. You need to follow the exact format provided by your teacher. Okay. After that you need to write the date in this format. See, 29th April. In this particular format I have provided this date, but you need to provide the exact date of writing letter. When you are going to answer any question of letter writing, you need to provide the exact date of writing letter. Okay, here it is 29 small th April 2021. No comma, no full stop, as you can see in your study material. I guess I have also opened the study material. Then you need to write my dear and whoever you are writing. My dear father, my dear mom, my dear friend's name I mean, my dear Nilanjana, my dear Ayush, whatever it is, my dear, then the name of the person recipient. Then you need to put a comma also. These things are important. If you omit the comma, it will be wrong. You may feel like, what is there in a single comma? This is so small thing. But no, you need to follow the exact format. Okay, exact format provided by your teacher. Remember this. And then you can see 3 hash signs. Why? The body of your letter, it should be divided into 3 parts. the body of your letter should be divided into 3 parts. Okay, and the beginning sentence, the opening sentence of your letter's body, it cannot be, it must not be an interrogative sentence. The opening sentence must not be an interrogative sentence. Okay, and also you cannot use numbers in the body of the letter or anywhere unless and until it is a date or time or house number mentioned in the address section. That is something else. Other than that, other than the address section's house number or the time or the date, you cannot use numbers like 2, 3. You have to write down the word TWO, FIVE like this, and you cannot use short forms, abbreviations in the letter writing. You cannot use that. You must not use any short form. Okay, and at the end you need to write with love, comma, yours affectionately, not your affectionately. With love, comma, yours affectionately, comma, your first name only, no title. It is a friendly letter writing, so no title should be mentioned. Your name only, like Madhuparna and full stop. First 2 lines will take comma and then full stop, just like the sender's address. Which are the things that you need to remember very well? As I said, the opening sentence of your letter's body, it cannot be, it must not be an interrogative sentence. And the exact date of writing letter must be provided. Exact date of writing letter, and short forms, abbreviations, those things cannot be used. You must not use any short form. And to be punctuated properly, obviously to be punctuated properly, if you don't put comma, full stop in proper places, it will be meaningless. Any writing, not only letter, it will be meaningless. And yeah, numbers you can't use except it is a date or time, or it is the house number in the address section, etc. Otherwise you cannot use any number in the letter writing. Okay, that's it, nothing else. You just need to memorize the format very well. Okay, don't make any mistake in the format of letter writing. You are going to get marks for every detail. Okay, not only for creative writing, you are going to get marks for the format also. So remember that, and watch the video, take your time, do the exercise, then check the answers from my study material. If you find any confusion, we will be talking about it in today's live class and in the upcoming live classes, because the chapter 10, it is going to take 1 or 2 more classes. Okay, bye bye for now.